Shalom, welcome to my channel, The Hebrew Bible. This is Moses Gumedi, and in this video we'll talk about the two kingdoms of Judah and Israel, or the two houses of Judah and Israel. Let us read the book of Kings, 1 Kings chapter 4, verse 20 in Hebrew. Yehuda veYisrael Rabbim kachol asher am hayam larov. Ochlim veshotim usmechim. What does it mean? Judah and Israel were as many as the sand by the sea. They ate and drank and were happy. Okay, they were all together. They were happy. This is the state of affairs in 1 Kings chapter 4 under Solomon. Solomon the king, who ruled over what would become later on the two kingdoms of Judah and Israel. We see them mentioned separately. So why are they separate? That's what we're going to look at today. We're going to look at the two houses of Israel and Judah and how the 12 tribes are divided between these two houses, and the history of the division that led into this division of these two kingdoms. And also, finally, we'll touch upon the prophesied unification of the two houses. Okay, so let's begin with the first thing about these sons of Israel, about the 12 tribes. Here we have a list of 12 tribes. There are multiple lists, but here is one in 1 Chronicles chapter 2, the first two verses. Here we read, Elle bene Yisrael. These are the sons of Israel. Reuven, Shimon, Levi, Yehuda, Issachar, etc. All the names are listed, which I have posted here. Put them on the screen for you. So here we read from the top right onwards, because Hebrew is read from right to the left and not from left to the right. So Reuben is what we call Reuben is Reuven in Hebrew. Shimon, Levi, Yehuda, Dan, Naphtali, Gad, Asher, Issachar, Zebulun, Yosef, Binyamin, which is in Benjamin in English, of course. Right, so now I have put them in different colors, and the reason is because they are all the sons of 4 different women, the wives and the concubines of Jacob. Leah and Rachel, or Rachel, in English Rachel. Leah in Hebrew, Leah in English. Leah and Rachel are sisters, both of them, the daughters of Laban, and they are the wives of Jacob. And Zilpah and Bilhah are their respective handmaids, whom they gave to Jacob to get additional sons. So you know the story, perhaps. If not, you could read that in the book of Genesis. Now, Zilpah being the handmaid of Leah, Zilpah's sons are now indicated in the same color as Leah's sons, except that they have a border, the red border. So Gad and Asher are the sons of Zilpah, but they belong to Leah because she is her handmaid. It's like a surrogate, as it were, you can think. Okay, the other one is Rachel, where Rachel, Yosef and Binyamin are her sons. But then before they were born, Dan and Naphtali were born to Bilhah. Okay, that makes up the 12 sons of Jacob. These are the heads of the 12 tribes of Israel. Now, later on, there was a bit of a change when Joseph went to Egypt. Joseph had 2 sons, Manasseh and Ephraim, and these were owned up by Jacob as his own sons, just like Reuben would be. He said to Joseph. And therefore, instead of Joseph, we have 2 tribes counted, Manasseh and Ephraim. And so that's why I grayed out Joseph here. And Levi being the priestly tribe later on, was not counted in the inheritance, although it is a separate tribe, but it is not counted within the inheritance. Therefore, the total count, then we take off these two guys, we add in Manasseh and Ephraim, we still have 12 tribes, but including Levi, it would be 13 tribes. The 13th tribe doesn't have any inheritance in the land. Okay, this is the general scheme that you find in the Hebrew Bible. Now, coming back to this Israel and Judah. So when we say Israel and Judah, we are talking about Judah as a tribe in itself and Israel or all the sons of Israel. So how do we split these tribes? How do we understand these two houses is the question. Now coming to the time of 1 Samuel chapter 18, where David had just defeated or killed Goliath, and all people were really after David. They loved him. It says here, but all Israel and Judah loved David. V'chol Israel v'Yehuda ohev et David. They loved. Is all Israel and Judah. Why these two? Why these two are mentioned? Judah as a tribe was quite unified and often looked like had its own distinct identity within the larger Israel and had a bit of a power, I should say. And also it may be that this is written from a retrospect perspective and therefore after the division of the tribes, etc. So when the history is written like that, they probably wrote like this. But in any case, both Israel and Judah loved David. In fact, that difference is there, we will see going forward. So this is during the days of Saul. Saul ruled all over Israel, but still you have this slight distinction that exists. Now, in 2 Samuel 2:10, we read that after Saul's death, in the mount, Jonathan, his son, Saul's son, Shaul is the name in Hebrew, Saul. Jonathan also died, and Saul's son Ishbosheth ben Arbaim Shana Ishbosheth ben Shaul ben Malcho al Yisrael. So he was 40 years old when he became a king over Israel. Who is this Ishbosheth? This word Bosheth means shameful. So basically I think his name was Ishbaal, means a man of Baal. These kind of names, Yerubbaal is also there. Gideon's name is also Yerubbaal. But because the name Baal, which is generally it means that master or Lord, it became associated later on with idol worship, which is why they have coined these alternative names. So instead of Ishbaal is called Ishbosheth, which is the man of shame. Bosheth is a reference to Baal. Okay. So Ishbosheth was Saul's son. And he reigned over Israel and reigned for 2 years, but the house of Judah followed David. Here you see the slight gap, the distinction coming between the tribe of Judah and the rest of Israel. Okay. So David comes from the tribe of Judah, and Judah had affinity to David. Going further in chapter 5 of 2 Samuel, we read that when David actually became the king, it says David was 30-year-old when he began to reign and reigned 40 years. In Hebron he reigned over Judah 7 years and 6 months, and in Jerusalem he reigned all over Israel and Judah. Okay, if you want me to read. Behevron Malach, in Hebron he reigned al Yehuda Shava Shanim 7 years, Ushisha Chodashim 6 months. Okay, Uvirushalayim Malach Shaloshim ve Shalosh Shana, that is 30 and 3 years. Al Kol Yisrael Vehuda. So for 33 years he reigned over all Israel and Judah. So David began by ruling over Judah, and then afterwards he took over Israel and Judah, both of them together. So essentially the picture looks like this. Okay, we have Israel and Judah. Saul ruled over both together, And when Saul died, Ishbosheth started ruling Israel, but Judah had an affinity to David. Judah followed after David. After 6.5 years, David took over Israel as well. Ishbosheth and all is gone, and Abner is gone, and David took over everything. And afterwards, David's son Solomon also ruled over the united kingdom of Israel and Judah. Rehoboam, the son of Solomon, ruled over Judah, and the remaining part, Israel, was ruled by Jeroboam. And here we read in 1 Kings chapter 11, where Ahijah the Shilonite, I think the prophet, he went to Jeroboam, who became an adversary of Solomon in his later days. And we see here that the prophet says that he tore the piece of cloth or whatever and said, take the 10 pieces, saith the Lord. Okay. Asara Hashevatim. So this is 10 tribes, which they represented 10 tribes. The Lord has given you 10 tribes from Solomon. So the 10 tribes were given to Jeroboam, which is called Israel. Okay. And for Rehoboam, the son of David, we read here, we live no eten shevet echad. So to him I will give 1 tribe, he says, shevet echad. For what purpose? Lema'an heyoth nir le David avdi. So in order to keep the light for David, my servant, I will give him, that is the son of Solomon, Rehoboam, 1 tribe. Which tribe is it? Is he talking about a tribe of Judah? Obviously, it is the tribe of Judah. Is it 1 tribe in addition to Judah, or is it just the tribe of their own tribe, which is Judah? That's a question. Anyway, it says 1 tribe. But if you go read further, what happened was that Rehoboam, when he saw that there was a rebellion by Jeroboam to take away the rest of the 10 tribes, he assembled all the house of Israel. We read was Yahweh Rehovam Yerushalayim. So he came to Jerusalem. Vayakhel et kol Beit Yehuda ve et Shevet Binyamin. So he gathered up all the house of Judah, that is Beit Yehuda, and Shevet Binyamin, the tribe of Benjamin. So many people. And then he went against Beit Yisrael, to fight against the house of Israel. So here we have the house of Judah together with the tribe of Benjamin on the side of Rehoboam. And so that basically gives us this picture. We have all these 12 tribes, but Judah and Benjamin then are associated with the house of Judah here in the blue color, and the remaining are the house of Israel. Okay. Now, but that's not it. It is a very simplistic view. Most of the people have this simplistic view. And when they talk about the lost tribes, they'll say all the rest of the tribes are gone, and therefore essentially we have Judah and Benjamin, and that's it. Some people might admit Levi or Levi, and that's all. But there's a bit of a nuance to this one. Okay, so let's read a few verses. Here in 2 Chronicles 11:14, we read about the Levites. Ki ozvu haleviim, the Leviim et migreshehem. Right, they basically left their suburbs, ve ahudzatham, their possessions, vayelchu lihuda. So, and then they came to Judah, vayelchu lihuda, ve'lirushalayim, and to Jerusalem. So the Levites came back to Judah and Jerusalem from the territory of Israel. They're leaving their suburbs and possessions. Why? Because he's cast them out. Jeroboam, he cast them out from executing the priest's office to Hashem, to the Lord, YHWH. And therefore, those guys obviously did not join the idol worship that was set up by Jeroboam. and therefore they came down to Judah and to Jerusalem. And so I did not turn the whole Levi or Levi into blue, because there are a lot of people who came. Surely there are a lot of people. Some of them might have remained, because right in the past we read in the book of Judges, there was one guy, a Levite, who had been a priest to the tribe of Dan, and he had set up teraphim and doing idol worship, being Levites. So there were some Levites who were doing all kinds of things. So we just leave them aside basically, but a lot of Levites are, a part of the house of Judah. So this is another picture that many people do have. Judah and Benjamin and Levi, that constitutes the house of Judah. But remember, some Levites were in the house of Israel as well. Okay, they never forget that. Now there is additional nuance in that in 2 Chronicles chapter 11 verse 16 we read actually that Ve'acharechem mikol shivtei Yisrael hanothnim et levavam levakesh et Adonai Elohei Yisrael. So a lot of people out of all the tribes of Israel, mikol shivtei Yisrael, out of all the tribes of Israel, set their hearts to seek Hashem, and therefore they came to Jerusalem to sacrifice to the Lord. Lizvoach l'Adonai, Elohei avotehem. So the God of their fathers. So they came to Jerusalem being faithful to Hashem. Not all the tribes, but people from out of all the tribes. Means some people out of every tribe. That's the meaning. Further, we read in chapter 15 verse 9 specifically a few tribes that are mentioned. We read about Vehagarim, that is Gerim. Gerim is the strangers who came down again to Judah, down to the south in the days of the king Asa. He gathered all Judah and Benjamin and the strangers, it says, Ephraim, Manasseh, and Shimon. These 3 tribes, individuals from these 3 tribes were gathered together within the house of Judah, because they fell out of Israel in abundance. So out of the kingdom of Israel, they came to Judah. They came under the king Asa, and because they saw that Hashem was with him, Hashem was with Asa, so they came. They basically, you can say, they migrated down. Okay, so that the new picture that emerges then is that in every tribe, in every single tribe, you have a small portion of people who came down south and became a part of the house of Judah. That doesn't mean they are from the tribe of Judah, but the house of Judah, that is the kingdom and the kingdom of Judah that was led by the kings from the tribe of Judah. Okay, that's the house of Judah and the kingdom of Judah. Within that, all these people are present. A little minority from every tribe are present according to these verses. But from the tribe of Shimeon or Shimon, and who else? Basically Manasseh and Ephraim. Okay, these 3 have a bit more than the other guys. That's how I have represented based on the verses. And this is the picture. Now, in terms of their territory, just about north of Jerusalem, if you get into Jericho onwards, or maybe a little more ahead, you have this territory of Israel. In those days, Shomron or Samaria, in English as Samaria is the word used in English Bibles, but the word is Shomron. Shomron was the head of the capital city of the kingdom of Israel, and Jerusalem was the capital city of Judea. This is the divided kingdom. But whereas Solomon's kingdom was the entire region, as you can see, Later on, Maccabees took over from the Seleucid Greeks, and they established the Hasmonean kingdom, which they called Judea, which again was headquartered in Jerusalem. Okay, this is just a picture for you to understand where they were geographically. But what happened to the kingdom of Israel, or the house of Israel? The house of Judah remained, but the house of Israel was exiled into Assyria. We read, in the 9th year of Hoshea, the king of Assyria captured Samaria and carried Israel away into Assyria. And where did he put them? In Hala, Habor, Gozan, and the cities of the Medes. Also again we read here in 2 Kings 17, Israel was exiled from their own land to Assyria. Until this day. Okay, so until the scriptures were completed, whenever that was, they had been in that place. And but whereas Judah, the house of Judah, was also exiled later on by the king of Babylon into Babylon, but they came back after 70 years under Ezra, Nehemiah, Zerubbabel, Ezra, Nehemiah, etc. And they built the city, built the wall, built the temple, and started back the religion, etc. Until it was again destroyed later on in 70 Common Era. Okay, so they all went to this Hala, Habor, Gozan, and if you look at this map here is down below in the bottom left corner, Samaria and Jerusalem, the headquarters. From there, they have gone. I can't say whether this is completely accurate in terms of the locations of Gozan, etc. But I picked up this from the Samaritan website. But I think it is accurate. So there are multiple deportations that are there under Tiglath-Pileser and Shalmaneser, Sargon, etc. And those guys they took away, and from here they went in different directions. Some went towards the north. So here we are talking about Syria and southeast Turkey, and then northwest of Iran, also a far north of Iraq. So all these areas are within this, and then the Mesopotamia as well. So all of Iraq, which is. And so these people have gone all over, and then some people went towards Afghanistan and India, and others maybe to Arabia, and there are some other people who went up north towards the Caspian Sea and into Europe. So different people migrated into different areas and got mixed up with them within the Gentiles and lost their identity. They don't know that they are the children of Israel. Okay, it is probably also very difficult to genetically determine that, because after you marry someone else, 50% of that genes are gone, and then somebody else marries another Gentile person, 25%, another third generation. By third generation, you have only 12.5% left. The fourth generation, 6.5%. Fifth generation, 3.3%, right? Sixth generation, 1.5%. 7 generations is less than 1%. In 10 generations, you cannot detect it in a DNA test. So DNA is not really a marker. So who knows who are the Israelites? Only God knows. They are lost. But that doesn't mean all Israelites are lost, all 12 tribes are lost. Let's go back to this picture here. All the 12 tribes are represented within the house of Judah, which is still preserved to this day. Okay, that's what it is. Now here we come to the prophecy of the restoration of all the two houses. Although all the 12 tribes are represented within the house of Judah, the house of Israel as such doesn't exist, number one, and it has not been brought back from captivity as it is prophesied, which means that it will be brought back one day. Okay, here we read in Ezekiel chapter 37, it's a wonderful prophecy of the living up of the dry bones. Here we read in between verses 21 and 24. Thus saith Adonai Elohim, Vedaber Elehem Ko Amar Adonai Elohim. Why are we saying Elohim here for YHWH? Because if this word is preceded by Adonai, then you don't say Adonai, Adonai. And that's why you see the pointing here. The pointing is Chataf, Segol, Cholam, and Chirik. These are exact vowels of Elohim, which is why this word is pronounced Elohim, Adonai Elohim. Okay, that's a tradition. People sometimes question the tradition, but I'll tell you, not only the vowels are received through tradition, the text itself is received through traditions. The Jews preserve the text. They are the ones who preserve the text. That's why we have it. If they are not there, we don't have it. It's very simple. So whatever we have in the history, whatever things are there, or the documents, is essentially down to them. They have preserved it, or it's a big family tradition. And so I think that whether we should pronounce it or not is a big question. I've chosen it's not that I don't pronounce. I sometimes do in private, only in prayer, but not speaking out loud. There is another video that I have done on this subject, but let's not go there. So essentially, God is going to bring from all nations. These guys are all scattered over. Take the children of Israel from all nations. It says children of Israel. Here we read Bnei Yisrael, sons of Israel, from all nations where they are gone, and gather them and bring them into their own land. El Admatam, their land, their ground, their land. Okay, make them one nation, into one nation. They will no longer be two nations, neither they shall be divided into two kingdoms anymore. If you read further, they will no longer be doing idol worship, which means that a lot of people who have scattered, mixed up with the Gentiles, are also involved in idol worship. And they will no longer do the idol worship. And God will save them, and He will cleanse them of their sin and appoint David as their king. If you search for the word David in the book of Ezekiel and the book of Jeremiah, you will find that David will come back as a king over the United Nations or United Kingdom of Israel and Judah in the future, according to the prophecy. There shall be one king and there shall be one shepherd. We read all these verses. It can be seen in the book of Ezekiel, also chapter 34, look at it, and also in the book of Jeremiah. He is the prince. David is also called the prince. And the prince occurs in the book of Ezekiel 40 onwards, or 41 onwards, till 48. If you see, you can search for the prince who offers in the new temple. He offers sacrifices for his own sins as well. Okay, he is a flesh and blood man, David, ruling over the entire United Kingdom of Israel and Judah. That's the prophecy. Okay, that's about the two kingdoms and the two houses of Judah and Israel. I hope you liked it. Please do like the video. Please do subscribe to my channel. Click the bell icon for notifications. Also do comment below, and I will come back to you with another video as soon as I can. Thank you very much.